I know you're used to seeing us with a desk in front of us, but we've got something good for you coming up in a second. Cooper, what's going on for the fans?
You know, normally, like Tristan was saying, we got the desk, we got the beautiful background, but you know, we switched it up a little bit. The great engineers here at Arkansas State made us a little something. Should we go show the fans here?
I think we should. Follow us. Come on, walk with us, if you might. And guys, as you can see, we've got a very, very, very futuristic, great-looking set here. And Cooper, I'm so proud that we can finally have this sports set here for the fans of Red Wolf Roundtable.
I mean, we have to provide the greatest and most best content for all of our fans and for the best show here on ASU-TV.
Yeah, Cooper, so we got a good show for y'all today, and before we get too carried away, let's go ahead and send it to everybody's favorite news desk correspondent, Ella Jane Britt. Ella Jane, take it away.
Thanks, Tristan. My name is Ella Jane Britt, and welcome back to the Red Wolf Roundtable News Desk. This week in A-State Athletics, the Arkansas State track and field team competed this past Sunday in the South Alabama Invitational at the Birmingham Crossplex. 5 of these Red Wolves recorded personal bests and also totaled 6 top 5 finishes. Over the course of this past weekend, A-State combined for a dozen personal bests and 15 top 5 results, and also came home with 4 event titles. To keep up with the Red Wolves track and field team, you can follow them on Twitter at A-State Track and over on Instagram at Arkansas_State_track. In Arkansas State basketball, the women's team rallied in the 4th quarter and sadly fell short to Old Dominion with a final score of 87-75. 4 of these Lady Red Wolves finished out the game in double figures. Izzy Higginbottom finished with a career high of 19 points and 5 rebounds, while Lauren Peddleton added 13 points, and all of this being in the second half. Melody Kapinga scoring 11 from the post position, and Anna Griffin notched 10 points with a game high of 7 rebounds. These Lady Red Wolves are set to be back in action this Thursday as they're set to face their final 2 road tests as they're set to play Troy. Tip-off is set for 5 p.m. and the game will be broadcasted live on ESPN+, and you can listen to the game live from the EAB Red Wolf Sports Network. On the other hand, the Red Wolves men's basketball team defeated Coastal Carolina this past Saturday with a final score of 73-57. Caleb Fields finished the game out with a game high of 19 points, while 15 of those 19 points came from the second half. Terrence Ford scored 16 points and grabbed a season high of 8 rebounds. Omar El Sheikh also finished with 16 points, while Isaiah Nelson added 10 points. These Red Wolves will also be set for a road swing this week as they will face the Bobcats of Texas State Thursday. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m., and you can watch the game live on ESPN Plus and listen to the game live from the EAB Red Wolf Sports Network. Tristan and Cooper, back to you guys.
Cooper, we got a great show for the fans here today, and Cooper, why don't you go ahead and break us down with some of the things we're talking about here?
Well, like always, we're going to have recap of the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team, and we're going to have some pretty good highlights. You know, if you missed the game this past Saturday, Caleb Fields.
Ho. Don't spoil the magic just yet.
All right.
We gotta let it simmer.
Yeah.
We gotta treat it like it's a crock pot on NFL Sunday morning. You gotta let it simmer. But Cooper, what a great weekend the 2 teams had.
It really was. Like, even though the girls ended up losing their game Saturday, they still fought. They lost by 12, and we're gonna get more into it. But they had it within 1 score, and like we'll give our thoughts on that. But they played their hearts out. And the guys, they finally got that big win. And so it's just going to be a great episode.
Yeah, Cooper, I mean, you were there for the doubleheader. You were there for the game before the doubleheader. It was just electrifying in First National Bank Arena. You know, we suffered a sort of an ice storm. That's why we weren't here last week, so we're happy to be back from that. But First National Bank Arena, for the students and fans that came, can all say that was rocking that night against Coastal Carolina.
It really was, and I was glad to see the outcome from the students. You know, even with the ice and the fans, you know, it's kind of iffy being on the road. You want to be safe. You don't want any accidents trying to get to the game. So it was good to see a nice crowd there, seeing all the true fans, the students show up, and the students really had a big impact in that game.
Yeah, Cooper, I mean, I just can't fathom how exciting that was without spoiling what we got, what we're going to show later on.
Yeah.
Coop. So before we get too carried away, man, we're going to go ahead and send it to a short break. We'll be right back. You're watching Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
ASU-TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside Football and more, ASU-TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU-TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
Welcome back, guys, to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU TV, and now it's time to dive a little bit into some of women's basketball action that happened live from First National Bank Arena. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. The game against Old Dominion. Ella Jane Britt, our news desk correspondent, started off strong talking about it, but the second half comeback for the Red Wolves just fell short. As you're seeing the stats on the screen now, you know, Old Dominion, they shot over 50%, had 34 rebounds, shot 39% from the three-point line, and just slightly beat us. Cooper, you were there live in living color. What went wrong?
You know, when we went to that second half, we were down at halftime. You're thinking, oh no, this one's going to get out of hand. That third quarter of the game, we outplayed them. I think we outscored them by 10 points in the third quarter. We were dominating that game, out-rebounding them, just playing smart, and we got back into the game. But when things started to go wrong, they started pressuring us. They did a full-court press, and then we started turning the ball over. They started freaking out, started playing too fast, and just let it slip away. It's that type of game, you have to calm down. You have to call a timeout. Coach Rogers has to calm down her girls and be like, all right, make the smart pass. And we were just open girl, just throwing the ball away. It was just showing difference for where we at and where we need to be.
Yeah, Cooper, I mean, there's still a lot of ball left for this Lady Red Wolves team. You know, Izzy Higginbottom, Anna Griffin, Melody Kapinga, Jada Upshaw and the girls, they've got a lot of time left. But the problem becomes, is just like Cooper said, when the press of the defending team starts to show in the backcourt, the Lady Red Wolves, just the Red Wolves, they seem to panic. So what I want to pose to the team and to Coach Rogers and to Coach Ness and, you know, to all the coaching staff and just everybody over there in athletics, you know, that studies this women's team is maybe this week in practice you start to really look at how you can beat the press and not suffer the coffin corner that we saw a couple weeks ago and a lot of different aspects to where if you're going to run again, if you're going to be trying to run an offense against the press early when you're maybe down 5 to 10 points where it's easy, still a winnable ball game, you got to look at maybe finding that lane, finding that hole for Izzy Higginbottom to get the ball to Melody Kapinga, because let's be honest, when Melody Kapinga can get the ball inside, she's making the shots. And 9 times out of 10, at all the games I've watched, when she doesn't make it inside, she's getting fouled. So why don't, instead of trying to get the ball into the corner to a teammate that can shoot the ball, why not work the inside? Why not exploit the defense's weaknesses to the point where we can start winning these ball games so that come to conference tournament time, you know, we We need to go on a thing where we're on a run. But that's the negative thing. You got to look at the positives. Izzy Hickenbottom, when her shots are falling, she's electric. When Jade Upshaw, when she's on the court and her shots are falling, she's electric. When Anna Griffin's one of the best three-point shooters on the team, and I haven't heard a single soul talk about how good from the three-point line she is.
Yeah, Anna Griffin, she's the type of girl that's really been stepping up for this team, and I've really enjoyed watching her really find her role in this game. But like you're saying, the negatives, we get in the coffin corner, when we throw the ball in, we pass it straight to the corner, and then that's when the turnovers happen. We're trying to get the press up court. To beat the press, you have to pass the ball towards the middle. When I played basketball back in my, the glory days. The glory days. We were always taught you don't want to pass it towards the sideline. You need to keep the ball in the middle, because when you pass it towards the sideline, you may have one person on you, but there's a second guy right behind you, and that's out of bounds. And they can just trap you, do everything else, and that's when the turnovers happen. But like Tristan was saying, if we get the ball inside and we start attacking the rim, that opens the shot up for Izzy Higginbottom and Jade Upshaw, and as well Anna Griffin. We have people that can score. We just need to give them the right shot.
Yeah, Cooper, so let's go ahead and look at some of the key players that you and I kind of picked out before the show. So let's go ahead and start off with mine. Izzy Higginbottom, the guard from Missouri. I mean, she's averaging just over 30 minutes. She's just about got 15 points a game. She's shooting 35% from the field, and she's averaging almost 4 assists. That's electric, what you want to see from a guard, especially one that, keep in mind, is not 100%. She's still dealing with the heel injury that she suffered a couple weeks ago, and let's be real, she won't be 100% after that. I mean, the type of injury she suffered, you just don't become 100% after that. But she's still playing electric ball. There's no reason why she can't be one of the players that people are talking about to win Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year, because she is that leader. She can shoot the ball, pass the ball, rebound the ball, steal the ball. She can do it all. But before I get too carried away and cut time out of you, let's go ahead and go to your key player, and I'll let you go ahead and talk about why you picked who you picked.
All right, so my key player, Anna Griffin. She's averaging about 8 points per, 9 points a game, 8 rebounds, shooting 32% from the three-point line. And she's been a player that really hasn't been talked a lot as much as, like you were saying. She deserves the respect that she has earned. She has been playing hard on offense, but not as well as she is a great offensive mind player. She can get down on defense. She can force the turnover. She can get the steals when they're needed to, and she's just such a hard player. I've seen her play the past couple days, and she's really taken that next step up when Jade Upshaw's not hitting her shot, when Izzy's in foul trouble. She's really been that girl to step up and find a way to get her team back in the ball game, and that's why she's my key player.
Yeah, Cooper, well, we've seen our key players, so let's go ahead and look at the remaining schedule for the women's team so that we can see what games are winnable and what games are not. So let's go ahead and start at February 9th against Troy in Troy, Alabama. That game, they played us here on January 5th at home. It was a hard-fought game, but I still think it's winnable. I think all the games here on this schedule are winnable, and that's just not me being a quote-unquote homer that a lot of people on Twitter like to call people when they support the Red Wolves.
Yeah, and there's 3 must-win games, and that's South Alabama, ULM, and Texas State, in my opinion. South Alabama is the worst team in the league right now, so we have to win that game.
Yeah, Cooper, well, I'm getting told in my ear that we got to wrap it up before we go heavy on time. So, guys, you're watching Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. We'll be right back after this.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
ASU-TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside football and more, ASU-TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU-TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. You already know who I am, Tristan Harlan, here with my good friend, the Juice Box Melter. I didn't say it in the open, so I'm going to get it in now.
Thank you.
So, Cooper, we let the crock pot simmer a little bit. So now let's go ahead and show some highlights from the Coastal game for the men's team that we've been hyping up all day. As you're going to see there, just an electric game for both the men, and women on the doubleheader, but especially the men. Omar El-Sheikh, he had a game. You know, Terrence Ford, Caleb Fields, they all were them dogs.
Yeah, you know, what I liked about this game in the second half of play, Coach Villado, he found his 5 group of guys that he wanted to finish that game, and I don't think he made a sub all of second half. You saw Terrence Ford, Caleb Fields, Omar El-Sheikh, and Isaiah Nelson out there pretty much the entire game, with Caleb London subbing in every so often with Avery Felts. But what a game it was. You know, he didn't get talked much about, but Omar El-Sheikh, he had a game.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring about Omar El-Sheikh because we forgot the Marabono, Avery Felts.
Yes.
He was hitting them threes. Look at that. Bang. Give it from Omar and triple bang, 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 chang, chang. Because he was able to hit the three-point shot. Isaiah Nelson, thank you, ma'am. Send that back to sender. Because he was a dog. Isaiah Nelson, he had that dog in him. And the thing that we were talking about, as you're seeing another lob from Caleb Fields, who had that dog in him, you're going to see it right here. This is what I was going to talk about. Caleb Fields, wham, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Go ahead and put him on top as you're seeing the fans. They're loving it. Cooper, the juice box, you had your thing rolling. You loved it. And you're just going to see the rest of the game highlights here. But, man, what a great win this was for the men's team. I mean, there's nothing more you can say than absolutely electrifying. Caleb Fields, he had that dog in him. He had a whole bunch of points, and he was the one, as you're going to see here, that just wham, got on his head.
I think we got it one more time.
I think there's one more. Mr. Producer Man. He said, John, he already know you got the highlights. And I think there may be one more. I think it may be a slow-mo cam. Let's go ahead and wait for it. But Cooper, it was electrifying to see Caleb Fields and the team do what they did against the Magic Chicken.
You know, the turquoise chicken. Speaking of Coastal, where's that bucket?
I think Louis took it home to Great Britain.
Oh, Louis, we're going to need that back because we finally beat Coastal Carolina in something, and we need to get that bucket. But besides that, what a game it was. Isaiah Nelson looked like the Lob City Clippers out there with Caleb Fields. You had Omar El-Sheikh. And what was cool about Coastal Carolina, they also had a guy who was from Egypt in that game. And after the game, Omar and the guy from Coastal, they came up, had a moment, they took a picture with one another. And it was really cool to see that because when they announced the starting guy's name and he's like, from Egypt, I was like, whoa. That's kind of cool because how many basketball players do you know that come out of Egypt? So that was probably a cool moment for Omar. But it was funny being on the court. Omar, he's learning to be a great basketball player, and you can see Villado wants him to be that guy because he was all over Omar, screaming at him, getting in his face. But sometimes that's what good coaches do. You get at your player, you get mad at him and say, listen, I'm getting mad because I want you to succeed to the highest ability. And that's what Villado was pushing Omar to do that game.
Yeah, Cooper, and not just Caleb Fields, but the whole team. You've got to look at the stats if you want to understand the story. I mean, the Arkansas State Red Bulls, they shot 44% from the field. They had 31 rebounds. They shot a lot better from the three-point land, and they beat them by 73-57. And Caleb Fields is that dog. I don't care what anybody says. Him and Terrence Ford are the best 1-2 combo since Desmond Bain and Ja Morant. But, Cooper, we got to take a break because Easton's yelling at me in my earpiece. So, guys, you've been watching Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. We'll be back after this. Don't go anywhere.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
ASU TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside Football and more, ASU TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
Welcome back, guys, to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. And before Easton John cut us just a little bit short, we were going to hit our key players for the men's team. So, Coop, I'll let you start, and then I'll take it from there.
All right, my key player, you already know, Isaiah Nelson. He's averaging 4 points and only 5 rebounds. But the stat we're not showing, you saw it during the highlights. That man can get up. He can get up there. You're going for an easy layup. You better watch out because Isaiah's coming to swat that away. And during pre-games, he has one of the most impressive dunk packages I've ever seen. He goes from in between the leg dunk to a windmill 360 somehow. He has the energy this men's team need when going into the conference tournament, and hopefully the team will feed off that energy and bring them home, and maybe we'll be that great 16 seed Cinderella story run. But Isaiah Nelson, he has potential to be really good. If he can keep his energy up and play smart, he can really make an impact on this team.
Yeah, Cooper, I mean, there's a lot of players on this team that I could have picked. But, guys, you already know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick my man, Terrence the T-Baby Ford. You're seeing the stats on the screen now that doesn't do him justice. He's got about 10 points per game. He's shooting almost 45% from the field and almost 40% from the three-point land. And he's averaging just about 30 minutes. But what the stats doesn't show you is, and I can't stress this enough, is what the stats does not show you is that when he is on the court, the team's better. I will honestly say that if you put Terrence Ford and Caleb Fields on the floor with each other, you're going to get some of the most exciting basketball you've ever seen from the Arkansas State Red Bulls. I don't care about the tournament run back in the '99. If you put those two on the floor, you've got exciting basketball. You run a 5 of Ford, Fields, Isaiah, Omar, and Caleb London at the 3, that's exciting basketball. I mean, sure, you ain't got a lot of players left because they're injured, but the fact of the matter is Terrence Ford, he's a freshman. He is a freshman, and he's doing this in Sun Belt Conference. You know, I talked to him not a while back, and I said, Terrence, you know, what's the end goal for you this season? He said, man, honestly, I don't care about accolades and everything, but if I can win Sun Belt Freshman of the Year, that would put the cherry at the top and, of course, win the Sun Belt. And, you know, that's what you like to hear from your young guys.
I would love to see him get that, and I really hope the injury he faced earlier this season doesn't, you know, put him out of contention, because he is that great player coming off the bench when he's not starting to really get this team fired up when they are in a scoring slump. And when we have the Mayor Bono out there along with Caleb Fields and Terrence Ford, that's the three-headed dragon of just three-point shooters right there. They're scoring nonstop, and, you know, they're always focused on when you give Avery Felts the ball, you hear them yell, shooter, shooter, shooter. They know he's a shooter. Not many teams know that Terrence Ford, while he can get to the basket, he can let that tray ball fly a little bit next year and in the conference tournament.
Yeah, and it wasn't a knock to Avery Felts when I said you put Caleb Field and Terrence Ford on the floor together. It wasn't a knock against him. Never. I love Avery Felts. He's a great guy. I've talked to him as well. He's a great three-point shooter. But when you're thinking pure excitement, inside games and dunks and lobs to Isaiah Nelson, you're going to think of those two. Avery Felts is the guy you put him off, you bring him in coming off the bench, and he's going to give you at least 10 a game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got to look at the schedule for this team to see what's left. I mean, they just beat Coastal, and now they got a road game against the Bobcats at Texas State, then at Georgia Southern. 2 games that are very winnable. I mean, I know they're sitting at last in the Sun Belt Conference, but the rest of this schedule, except maybe the Troy and Louisiana game, are winnable.
I mean, even looking at Troy and Georgia State, you want to finish your last 2 home games with a win. I honestly consider Troy and Georgia State must win. And if we can somehow go split it and go 3-3 and at best 4-2, that can really help this team get a better seeded in the conference tournament. Because the last thing we want to do is really, you know, have to draw the best team in the conference and get screwed over and not really get to show what we're played of and only get to stay there one day. But we gotta win our last 2 home games.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the bracket more next week when things kind of unravel. But real quick, before we have to send it back to our news desk correspondent, let's go ahead and take a look at the game stats one last time from the Coastal Carolina game. Like I said, they shot 44% from the field. Coastal out-rebounded us 37-31. We shot better from the 3, and, you know, of course, we ended up beating them. But reality is when you're shooting almost 50% and you're shooting almost 40% from the tray ball, you're going to win these ball games. The only issue is Omar, you've got to rebound, my guy. Omar, you are my dog. I will forever sing your praises, my guy. But you've got to learn to rebound the ball and stop getting so emotional. But, Cooper, unfortunately, before I get too emotional and too loud and too rambunctious, we're going to send it to everybody's favorite news desk correspondent, Ella Jane Brett. Ella Jane, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Tristan. Thanks for asking. Don't forget to tune in to ESPN Plus Thursday at 5:15 to watch the Lady Red Wolves basketball team as they take on Troy. And following, you can watch the men's play as they would take on the Bobcats of Texas State at 7 p.m. As always, you can also listen to these games live from the EAB Red Wolves Sports Network.
Cooper, any last thoughts for the fans before we have to send it away?
You know, it's been a long week not being here at Red Wolf Roundtable, so it's good to be back. Thank y'all for tuning in every week. You know, we wouldn't do it without y'all.
Yeah, and we hope you guys enjoyed the new set that the engineers got squared away for us. And guys, make sure you tune in next week because we'll be talking a lot of SBC tournament. But for that, this has been Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV. We will see you guys next week.